What's going on, everybody? Welcome. My name is Paul, and this is the Basketball Show, where we take an objective and not an emotional look at the NBA, NBA players, legends, and NBA history and events. Today, we have an awesome episode for you, as we will dissect very recent comments from Scottie Pippen, specifically on comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan. I watched this whole interview, which is over 2 hours long, and I will dissect more of it because it was super interesting to me in later episodes, but I wanted to concentrate on the comparison of LeBron to Jordan in this one. Now, Scottie Pippen made some very strong and even final statements that should end this whole GOAT conversation forever. I will play the clip of Scottie for you right now, so please take a look at it. Listen and share your thoughts as we're going through it. So here are the comments.
Michael, he was built different. Competitive 24/7. Not too many people are built like that.
I agree.
Willing to compete at any level and at anything. So, when you look at these players in today's era, being LeBron, there's really no comparison. When you talk about the level of competitiveness, Michael bunched up all of his competitiveness and sort of exposed it out to the world within 12 to 14 years. We saw his whole resume, his competitiveness, his drive, his will to win, what he wants to do. When someone like LeBron has to spread that out for 20 plus years, it's not the same drive, it's not the same fight, it's not the same hunger.
Now, in this first part, as you just heard, Scottie Pippen describes Michael Jordan as a super competitive person. He would compete at every single thing he was doing. I mean, it was so bad to the point, and I heard these stories from other players on the Bulls and other players in the NBA, that Michael was so competitive. I mean, if there was a situation where you're eating dinner and whoever finishes first wins, I mean, Michael would just swallow the whole freaking thing right off the bat and make sure he wins. But what Pippen is saying here is literally that he doesn't even know anybody else that is or was as competitive as Michael was, and especially in today's league. And he does mention LeBron James by name. And there was a recent conversation, a huge uproar from LeBron James fans, and they were super happy because LeBron passed Michael Jordan in a total of 30-point games. But as Anthony Davis, LeBron's own teammate, mentioned in a joke, that it took LeBron 7 more years to do that. And we know that if he was going to pass Michael Jordan in 40-point games, that would take him another 32 seasons or so. So Scottie Pippen literally says that whatever Michael did in the 12 to 13, 14 seasons, whatever he really played at his pinnacle of his talent and physical ability, is completely not matched by what LeBron is doing. And it shows Michael had more drive. Michael was more competitive. He just competed nonstop. There was no quit. There was no backing off. There was no taking the foot off the gas. It's just, you can't even compare the two guys. That's basically what he's saying. And he's 100% right. That's what we've been saying for years now. There is no comparison. And there's nothing to be happy about when your player passes another player, but it takes him 7 more seasons to do it. That's actually something to be embarrassed about, not praise. Let's keep going.
And so when people try to make those comparisons of those two players, it's like talking to someone in the front seat, in the back seat. They ain't even in the same lane.
Now this was short but sweet. This, I think, was a very strong dig at LeBron James. when I heard this, I was like, oh my God, did he really say that? And Scottie Pippen literally said, if you're comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan, it's like comparing a guy in the back seat to a guy in the front seat. There is no comparison. I mean, you can't be any more bold and straight out forward to tell everybody that LeBron James doesn't stack up to Michael, period. And I think, Pippen made different comments in the past, but I think as he is watching LeBron James year after year after year after year and how his career unfolds and what he says and what is being celebrated and how long it's taking him. Right now, Scottie Pippen has changed his complete view of LeBron James compared to Michael Jordan, and literally tells us that LeBron James is just not in the same lane, not on the same level, period.
It's not even worth talking about.
The two of them.
When you ask who's better, LeBron or Michael.
Like
LeBron got lanes every night. When we played, there were no lanes. Wasn't nothing but hardwood floor. If you go to the basket, you're gonna hit the wood. There's no comparison. There's the basketball in the late 80s into the early 90s. Physical, hard nose, no layups, earn it from the free throw line. Today's game, it's about three-point shooting. It's about driving it to the basket, finishing. Did you hear me say, earn it at the free throw line? That doesn't even exist in today's game. It's just about shooting the ball.
Now, this was the last part of the comments specifically about comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan. And what Pippen is saying here is basically that the league has changed so much that every night when LeBron James is on the court, even though he's, big and strong, and we all know that, he's got open lanes to the basket because the rules have become so soft that nobody can really bump him or touch him or do anything to him because it's an automatic foul. And, for God's sakes, if you even look at his head, it's gotten to that point. I mean, touch it, whatever. It's an automatic flagrant foul, and it's a disaster. Pippen's saying, in his time when he was, playing and stuff like that, people going to the basket, they weren't getting to the basket. They were hitting the floor. Yes, it didn't happen every single time, but that was the intent of the defense every single time somebody drove to the basket. So that's why we got, LeBron James fans coming up with compilation videos of pulled out single plays from games. Or like, look at this defense. This defense wasn't that good. What are they talking about 90s defense and this and that? If you're pulling out a clip of 3 or 4 or 5 situations where something is not perfectly aligned, I can do that in every single era of NBA. And in this one, specifically. So Scottie Pippen literally telling you that as he watches LeBron's career, as he watches the NBA evolve, as he watches the rule changes and everything else, first of all, Michael is just a different player. LeBron is not on his level. And second of all, LeBron has a much easier road to score points and to be the player that he is in this era because the NBA has just become so soft. That doesn't compare either. And that's why I've been saying in previous videos that the scoring record of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a highway robbery in plain daylight because the way Kareem achieved his points over his career was much, much tougher than LeBron James achieved his points during his career. So if you're beating a record of somebody under much easier rules, that's not really beating that record, if you know what I mean. It's not. There's no way that could even be taken as equal. But, the NBA is what it is, and it's become that way, and hopefully it's going to go in the other direction soon because the ratings are tanking, and we'll see what happens. But I think Adam Silver's got to go, and they got to put an ex-NBA player in there, somebody from the 90s. And I was talking about Shaq doing the commissioner's job for a couple of years. I think there would be a lot of change in the NBA. So I hope this video was interesting for you, and how Scottie Pippen broke down that comparison is very, very eye-opening. And like I said, I'll try to break down the rest of that interview in future videos, because there's a lot of good discussion in there. And if you don't want to spend 2 hours, or you want to watch it in segments, it would be a good way to just subscribe to my channel and just look through it as I go through it in separate episodes. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.